Laois both showed signs of making the breakthrough themselves in Leinster. Well, now things have gone backwards again, with the decline particularly marked in Westmeath. Well, to try and find out what the reasons for that are, Des Cahill visited the county during the week.
And the lady in the bay, and Manhattan turns to face another Sunday. We just wonder what you're doing to bring us all back home, as we look forward to another Monday.
I'm sitting at the crossroads in Castletown, Gagan, one of the hurling strongholds in County Westmeath. Now, this is normally where the young lads of the village would meet on a Sunday morning and chat about the games coming up, except there aren't too many young lads here at the moment. Most of them have been forced by unemployment to emigrate. It's a problem not just faced by the local hurling club. The county senior hurling team have the same problem. The jobs simply aren't here, and most of the young men have been forced to emigrate and take the road to New York.
In a week when emigration has emerged as a major election issue, the plight of the Castletown team that won the championship a few years ago is a fair reflection of the current national problems. It was a good team, but with no jobs around, it began to break up, and gradually the village saw its young men leave.
We lost 8 players of inter-county standard. We lost 25 players in all. 21 of those would have gone to America, and 4 would have travelled to England to seek employment.
So really your county team has been devastated as a whole?
Our county team has been devastated, and our club team here in Castletown Gagan has been devastated by emigration.
Can you see it ever being resolved?
There is a great difficulty. It's a government problem, really, an employment problem. You're standing in an area now which is basically an agricultural area. We're dependent on agriculture for the people to get employment. We're also dependent on the building industry. This village here is heavily dependent on the building industry. When the building industry is going well, Castletown is thriving. The bottom fell out of the building industry, and as a result, our lads had to emigrate, and they're all basically involved in building in New York.
But some building continues at home. Despite losing so many members, the Castletown club remains optimistic, and it's continuing to build for the future. The dressing rooms are being extended, and the ground facilities generally are being improved as Castletown looks forward to the return of its emigrants. But most importantly of all, the young players of the village are being coached in the skills of the game.
Okay, we're going to do the roll lift first. We'll be doing it in a relay race. High in the ball, turn the hurley over, all right?
Ger Jackson is centre half back on the team that meets Kilkenny tomorrow. He's just one of the Castletown men who emigrated. He would probably still be in New York but for the new juvenile coaching scheme introduced by the county board. Ger is one of 4 players employed by the county board, giving coaching sessions in schools and clubs around the county. The coaching course has been a tremendous success, but unlike in Kilkenny, the county board here face a real uphill struggle in developing interest among younger players.
We would be worried about the state of juvenile hurling within the county. We carried out a survey in the recent past as to its strength. We discovered that only 6% of the under-14 players in the county play hurling, and that was a cause of great alarm to us.
That's staggering. What are you trying to remedy that now?
Yes, we are indeed. Frank Young, the hurling board, and indeed the county board have spearheaded a project, and we are now employing 4 coaches. And these 4 coaches are going into 51 out of our 65 national schools. And it's our objective that every young player in Westmeath, every youngster in Westmeath, will be given the opportunity to play hurling.
Ger Jackson accepts that he is unlikely to enjoy any championship success here with Westmeath. But he did sample it in New York, where with so many emigrants, Westmeath were one of the strongest sides over there.
We're very successful, yeah, for the 3 years I was there, like, you know. We started the team the first year, and we got to the semi-final. We're beaten by Clare. And we're narrowly beaten by Tipperary in 2 consecutive finals, 2 years in a row, like, you know.
Right. Well, that team, in fact, was most of what was the county team over here.
Basically, yeah, nearly all Westmeath fellas, like, with the exception of a couple of lads from Offaly, like, you know. A lot of our own clubmen, my own clubman was on that team as well, like, you know.
One of the reasons you came back is because of this false course with the kids.
Well, that's one of the reasons I came back, like, you know. I always liked Ireland, like, you know, so I decided I'd come back and have a go at this scheme, like, that the county board has set up, like, you know.
Yeah. But for the scheme, you mightn't have been able to afford to come back.
Probably not, like, you know. It was a great thing for me just to come straight into when I did come home. Like.
You saw today what we're doing. There is an extremely positive response from parents, from schools, from everybody towards this project. We need £20,000 to finance this project. I have no doubt that Westmeath people realising what we're doing, that we're working hard for the future well-being of hurling in Westmeath, I've no doubt that they will rally around us and that they will help us to raise that £20,000.
We've got nothing left to stay for. We have no more left to say. And there isn't any work for us to do. So farewell, you boys and girls. Another bloody flight of hers. Our best asset is our best export too.
Grey skies and a thunderstorm as Westmeath train at Cusick Park in Mullingar. The lack of interest among the Westmeath players in the game against Kilkenny is quite extraordinary. On average, only 9 or 10 players have been turning up for training. Emigration isn't the only problem the selectors have faced. There seems to be almost an inferiority complex amongst the players.
Our hurlers, I suppose, have suffered a problem through immigration over the years, and as well as that, I suppose, a bit of lacking commitment through our team, but we haven't enjoyed too much success, especially we're struggling in Division 2 of the league to stay there, which we achieved this year, and I think probably our team, that was their main achievement and their high point of the year, and we just about managed that.
Now, you're looking after the team. You mentioned a lack of commitment. It must be very frustrating for you when fellas don't want to turn out and train for a game against a great team like Kilkenny.
Yeah, well, we have that problem this year, but it has run through Westmeath hurling down for the last few years. Even when I was associated with myself playing, we've had bad turnouts for championship training, especially when clubs called on their teams to train. They train more importantly with their clubs, and firstly with their clubs rather than with their county.
I suppose there's lots of things to blame, but it's hard to know. We just haven't the players for a start, and I suppose the commitment is lacking, really.
And why do you think commitment would be lacking?
Various reasons, I suppose. Here in Westmeath, people seem to have good interest, or good enough in club. When the championship comes around, there's good interest in it, and seemingly the county thing is forgot about.
That's unusual, though, isn't it?
It is really. It's unusual, I suppose, but in Westmeath, nothing's unusual. That's sort of.
Goalkeeper Sean Greville was one of the stars of the Westmeath team that won promotion to Division 1 3 years ago. They beat All-Ireland champions Galway and Tipperary twice. But Sean Greville has also known the bad times against Kilkenny.
I remember 5 years ago on the beat, they scored 7-31, and I was working in Dublin, and one wise guy up there says, is that the time I see in the paper? So hopefully it won't be this time.
Yeah. It must be very frustrating, though, playing in a team that gets a beating like that.
It is, but like at the time we got a beating like that before, we didn't give up. We kept it up, and we got up to Division 1, which was always our aim. And unfortunately, no employment in Ireland. All the lads emigrated. I played out in New York with them, and I was more familiar with the team out there than I am with the one here at the moment.
As at the time that I got the All-Star, things were going well, really. We were at one panel together, and that panel were very interested. And when that panel broke up, there was nothing replacing it, or you could see even at the time there was nothing to replace it.
Sounds like the end of the world here. It won't be the end of Westmeath hurling on Sunday, will it?
No, I don't think so. There may be a shock or two in store on Sunday, but hopefully it'll be on Westmeath's side. We hope to give Kilkenny a good match. Kilkenny, I think, are an up-and-coming team. They're not just a settled team at the moment, and Westmeath will be, even though we haven't that commitment on the day, we will put up a good performance, I'm sure.
So we walk the streets of London and the streets of Baltimore, and we meet at night in several Boston bars. but we're far away from home, and we dream of you beneath the Irish stars.
Well, maybe Westmeath will take some consolation from the fact that they won't have to face the great Ger Henderson tomorrow. The stalwart defender has not been seeing eye to eye with the Kilkenny selectors, it seems, in recent times, and so announced during the week that he's retiring from inter-county hurling. A big loss, certainly, to the game. Well, even without Henderson, Kilkenny still field a formidable side.